You do not find a remote job, the remote job finds you. If you get into that space where you know something which very few people know, you will make the money that very few people make.
Also, is it possible for a fresher to get a remote job?
You have to be Googleable. Your English has to be phenomenal.
They want to do a remote job. So, for that, is there something to be done differently?
Here's how you do that. I'll give you a complete framework. Could be anything between 70-80 lakhs to 1 CR and above also. The primary goal is to differentiate yourself from the 1,000 other people in your college.
But what, in your opinion, is the best way कि अगर किसी को DevOps में जॉब चाहिए, इसको follow कर लो.
It's a 3-step algorithm.
So for today's discussion, now, Savinder, we'll talk about DevOps and how college students or recent graduates can shift to DevOps and get a job with DevOps, right? So first of all, I want to ask you, how can someone get started with DevOps?
That's a good question. And a lot of college students and people, who are in engineering college or, in the second, third year ask me that question. Now, the thing is, before you start thinking about doing a DevOps job, you should get your fundamentals of software engineering very, very clear, right? And that could be through your curriculum, that could be through the courses in college, or if you are from a tier 2, tier 3 college, which, isn't giving you that much value, it could be on your own as well. So, whichever shape or form you take, but make sure that you have some development experience. And I'm quoting it because it doesn't necessarily mean कि आपको कहीं जॉब करना है या इंटर्नशिप करना है. वो अगर आप कर सकते हो तो दैट्स ग्रेट. अगर नहीं भी कर पाए तो मेक श्योर यू मेक सम गुड क्वालिटी प्रोजेक्ट्स ऑफ योर ओन, and if possible do some open source contributions which have value. ऐसा नहीं कि देख रीडमी चेंज कर दिया, एक छोटा सा चेंज कर दिया, दैट्स नॉट गुड इनफ. सो हैव सम डेव एक्सपीरियंस either through a job, internship, or on your own. Only then you will be able to understand and appreciate what DevOps really is. So that's fundamental, and then you build on top of that.
So what should be the learning curve? जैसे अभी आपने बोला कि contribute to open source, right? But that itself can take a lot of time for various students. So is it advisable to straight away jump to DevOps and open source contributions, या फिर first get a hang of a coding language, make some small projects like websites, and then move to DevOps?
There is a sequence to this madness, right? And if you look up on YouTube, you will get a lot of noise. So firstly, to ghabrao mat, right? There is a sequence to the madness, and if you understand the sequence, तो आप अपना roadmap अपने आप बना लोगे, right? And why I say this is because people are nowadays looking for shortcut roadmaps. There is no roadmap which can be shared on YouTube because this is generic content. You have to create your own roadmap basis of your strength, your weakness, what you like to do, what you don't like to do. So everybody's roadmap is different, but I can give you general steps. Out of these, which one applies to you, which one doesn't apply to you, you are the best just to figure that out, right? So first you have to start from fundamentals of computer science, which is understand operating system, Windows, Unix. That is very, very important for a DevOps engineer. Once you understand that, and then for each of these, you can pick up and create your own syllabus. That there are hundred of ways to do that. But look at the blocks that I'm giving you, right? So first, fundamentals of software engineering, fundamentals of OS, operating system, one Windows, one Unix, whichever you like. After that, one programming language, one compilable programming language, which is a Java, a .NET, whatever, and one interpreted programming language, which could be a Python, which could be a Node.js, anyone, front end, back end, whatever you want. So one compilable, one interpretable language. This is a must have. Then you go and create projects on this, right? And it could be of your own, and start with a simple project, start complicating it. Once you've done this, then put this, you can do all of this on your laptop, on your machine. Then learn about cloud, right? Once you have put this stuff on the cloud, then think about moving all of this stuff into containers. Then think about serverless. So you take one problem statement, implement, go to the next one, implement. सिर्फ ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम सीखने में 6 महीने नहीं लगाने हैं, सिर्फ एक प्रोजेक्ट बनाने में 3 महीने नहीं लगाने हैं. So do and learn rather than learn and do.
Hmm. You also talk a lot about learning in public, right?
Mhm.
So usse what do you mean and how can students apply that?
That's a great question, and it's one of my favorite topics. Right? So learn in public. I got a comment on YouTube yesterday. Kare, I thought learn in public was you go to public places and learn. So, it's not that. It means display your skill or your opinion, your skill, or your learnings in public. Now, if you are a student, then you probably don't have that much skill yet, right? You're building it up. So even while you're building it up, you can showcase that in public. And here's how you do that. I'll give you a complete framework, right? Monday morning, you get up and let's say you want to learn, um, let's say, Ansible, right? Which is a infrastructure as code language. So you go on LinkedIn and you say, guys, I will be learning Ansible over the next 4 to 6 weeks. Are there any resources you would recommend me? Here are the three things that I'm going to read. Maybe you will not get any reply, but don't worry about it. This is your post on Monday, right? Then through that week, you do your research, you study on 2 3 topics, you go to some YouTube tutorials, some books, whatever you doing. Then on Friday, you come back and say, hey, these are the three things I studied. These were the videos which are good. These were the articles which were good. This is the stuff which I did. And most importantly, these were the errors, issues I encountered, and this is how I fix them. And then whatever code you're generating, that code goes on GitHub. This article goes on hashno.io, and an entry goes on LinkedIn. And then the next week, repeat. So basically, at the end of 4 to 6 weeks, you will have a repository in GitHub. You'll have a bunch of articles on hashno.io, and you'll have a bunch of entries in LinkedIn. At least 2 entries every week. Compound this to 1 year, and you will have substantial stuff. And after 1 year, when an organization is looking for somebody who knows Ansible, who knows Jenkins, who knows blah blah
Hmm.
blah, they see you out there, they see your code.
Right.
This is the algorithm of learn in public.
Hmm. So for learning in public, what's our goal here? Is it just to document our journey so that 1 year down the line, अगर कोई recruiter हमें देखता है profile को, so they have an idea कि what our knowledge is, what our process is, or we are also looking for social media engagement here.
If you are a fresher, you are not looking to become a content creator. If it happens by the way, that is great. You are not looking for social media engagement. That is not the primary goal. The primary goal is to differentiate yourself from the 1,000 other people in your college. And that's why I said in this, you don't have to put, chapter one, three things, chapter two, three things, because that is there
Hmm.
anyways available on the internet. What will
Correct.
distinguish you is to say, these were the problems I encountered. This is how I fixed the problems,
Hmm.
because
Hmm.
that
Hmm.
is the skill that the hiring person is looking for. They are not looking for an agenda of what is available out there. उससे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता, right? But they're looking for what projects did you build, what problems did you encounter, how did you solve them. That's what you have to give out there.
So while looking for a job, Savinder, can freshers also get DevOps roles? And if yes, where can they apply?
About 3 or 4 weeks back, I had done a podcast on my channel with two students who are in the third and the fourth year of engineering college from a tier 3 engineering college. They are currently
Okay.
running internships. Both of them have multiple internships, and both of them have cracked jobs
Hmm.
in
Okay.
DevOps companies, right? One is a security
Got it.
expert, the other one is a DevOps expert.
Hmm.
So it is possible, but it takes effort, it takes time,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? And you need, like I said earlier, development experience, whether it's
Right.
coming from an internship or whether it's coming from your own. uh, work, project work. But it is
Hmm.
possible,
Hmm.
but it's not easy.
Hmm. You mentioned time and effort. So can you explain कि वो क्या effort है and कितना time है?
तो बेसिक एफर्ट ये है कि वट एवर यू आर लर्निंग इन कॉलेज, it you have to do a lot more than that,
Hmm.
because
Right.
every college has its set curriculum and they will
Hmm.
define, they will teach you that. But the
Hmm.
world has moved on very
Hmm.
very much away from what is being
Right.
taught in any college, unless you are in the top tier colleges in India. That's a different thing. But average engineering college in India, the syllabus is not what is relevant in the market today. So if you want to get a job, and if you want to get a job off campus, because in campus, I'm hoping that you're not at the top level, because then this question is not valid for you anyways,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Then you'll get through in
Right.
campus placement
Hmm.
and you'll get a job. So I'm
Hmm.
assuming you're not in tier 1 college, you're not from the IIMs of the world, and you may not get through a top cream company in campus placement. That's the audience
Right.
I'm addressing,
Right.
right?
Right.
Then it is on you to increase your skill and to showcase your skill. It's your responsibility, right? Because job kisko chahiye? Aapko, not the college, right? So first you have to accept that it is my problem, it is my responsibility. I am where I am, that's fine, but I have 2 3 4 years to fix this thing.
So, in your conversation with those two people who got their DevOps jobs in their third year, what did you realize that they have done something differently? Because you mentioned that they had to stand out from the crowd. So, what did you realize they had mentioned differently? If you could share with the audience.
Right off the bat, even before they got into engineering college or in the first year of engineering college, they were doing a lot of stuff in their own, right? For example, the security guy, he was interested in vulnerability testing of websites, right? So he used to do that on his own. He spoke to seniors, he became a bug
Hmm.
bounty hunter.
Hmm.
Right now,
Interesting.
this is a field which not many people even know of that it exists. But
Correct.
he found a loophole in Amazon Prime
Hmm.
and he reported it to them and he got recognition for them.
Hmm.
He
Okay.
found a loophole in NASA's website.
Hmm. Hmm.
It
Hmm.
took him 4 to 6 months for them to convince them, but that's what he was doing, and he became an expert by
Right.
reading, by doing. The other guy, he was very familiar with programming. He's been coding since standard ninth or 10th. And as he got into college, he got exposed to that there is something called DevOps. He got interested. He started building projects. He started learning things. He started creating his own apps. And then he started showcasing that.
But then this question arises कि these people were already coding or into software in some sort of the other way, even in their schools. So when we talk about college students, average college students जो कि college में आके ही coding start करते हैं, C++ सीखते हैं, they feel कि they are late या फिर they are not privileged या फिर this is like DevOps or open source is for people जो कि बचपन से ही coding में है.
दो ही ऑप्शन है, या तो काम कर लो या रो लो, राइट? आई एम सॉरी फॉर बीइंग ब्लंट, बट दैट इज द रियलिटी, राइट? अगर अगर आपको 7वीं 8वीं 9वीं से आप नहीं प्रोग्राम कर रहे हो, और नहीं इन्वायरमेंट था, यू डिडंट हैव द रिसोर्सेज, you didn't get into that sort of a friend circle who were in that zone, you were
Right.
just having fun, whatever it is,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
The point is, now you are in the first year, second year of college. It is what it
Hmm.
is. Now you can blame your parents, you can blame your friends, you can blame society, but that's not going to get you a job, right? So I would say, take 2 days, cry your heart out, you know drink daru, whatever floats your boat, या जो करना है कर लो, 2 दिन लगा के रो धो लो, कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता, हो गई शांति मन की, निकल गया सारा गुस्सा, स्टार्ट. Because like they say, right, there's a very famous saying in English. They say the best time to dig a well was 5 years back, the next best time is today. So it is what it is, right? If you didn't do it, that's fine. But you have to, if you don't start today also, then it's not going to help. So cut out that noise, right? Take 1 or 2 days, take a week, dump out all the garbage in your brain.
So, what, in your opinion, obviously you mentioned effort and time, and you also mentioned कि everybody has to make their own roadmap. I agree with that. But what, in your opinion, is the best way कि अगर किसी को DevOps में जॉब चाहिए, इसको फॉलो कर लो या फिर एक जनरल आइडिया, आइडियोलॉजी, माइंडसेट, मेंटल रोड मैप कि फॉलो दिस एंड देन यू कैन गेट अ जॉब विद DevOps.
Don't go with the idea of what are the 10 things you need to learn in DevOps and I will start one by one. That will not work in 2024 and beyond. And the reason I'm saying this is the moment you start learning something, some new things will come up and you will get confused. Either new in the market will come up or a friend will come and tell you कि अरे ये भी पढ़ना है, and you'll start getting confused because this is a big field. It's a very vast field. Even after 24 years, every day I'm still learning new stuff. So forget it. You can't learn everything of everything. It's not humanly possible. So don't worry about it. Right? Like I said, start with your fundamentals, fundamentals of OS, fundamentals of programming language, then create some programs, do some basic level of coding, make an app, deploy it on your laptop, right? Then get one continuous integration server, let's say a Jenkins, set it up on your laptop, then put in your code in GitHub, and then set up your Jenkins so that it will start deploying the code. All of this can be done on your laptop, a basic level laptop. You don't need anything hi-fi. All of this can be done for free. Once you've done this, once you know your operating system, a programming language, you've written a program, you have some basic level of continuous integration, continuous delivery going on in your laptop, then go to the cloud. And when I say go to the cloud, I mean create a free account on AWS and then say, how do I create a machine on AWS? Right? Do a list of things. What did I do on my laptop? Make a list. Now, how do I do this on the cloud? Now, how do I do the next one on the cloud? And then search for that and do that much only. What will happen is you will have a target that this is what I need to do. But by doing that, you will fall into problems. And by doing this, you will automatically learn what is networking in cloud. You will learn what is EC2. You will probably learn what is S3 buckets, right? This approach is better versus saying these are the 100 things I need to learn in AWS before I start. So define what you want to do, learn that, but by that you will automatically learn and you will automatically develop something worth showing. Right? Then once you have this set up on the cloud, then think about containers, containerizing all of this. And then the way to think about this is okay, I have an app going on in the cloud. Now I need to maybe use a cloud instance. So I need to look at okay, how do I do containers in cloud? What is container? AWS mein what is containers? What are the container services? How can I put this there? So that's how you approach it.
So, also, is it possible for a fresher to get a remote job in a DevOps role?
It's a three-step algorithm. Get a job first as a fresher, get a good job, then look for a remote job. Don't do it in the reverse sequence. And I'll tell you why. Because, see, first let us define what is a remote job. A work from home is not a remote job. That's a work from home where maybe, once a week you have to go to office, once a month. Today you have to go to office. In 3 months, you might be called back to office. If you don't go to office, they'll cut your variable pay. That is already happening in the industry. That is not remote job. That is pure work from home. Enjoy it while it lasts.
Right.
Work from home remote job by definition is when the company which is paying you is remote, which is outside
Hmm.
India,
Hmm.
anywhere in the world,
Hmm.
and they are hiring you. Now, why the heck would they hire you? because they didn't find anybody in their city, in their country, in their continent. And you happen to be the guy who fulfills that requirement, right? Which means how much of an outlier you have to be to get that, right? And you, if you Google search today portals for remote jobs, you will find 100 of them. I can challenge you to go and try and get a job from one of these portals. Success rate less than 1%. And why is that? Because most of these jobs advertised are actually in country remote. So you need a visa, which we don't have, right? So I always say this: you do not find a remote job, the remote job finds you.
Now, a genuine question here. I want to know your opinion. You mentioned कि all the success stories we see on YouTube, they are 0.1%. They are the outliers. Okay. So if I am an average college student, let's say in my first or second year, and I feel कि हाँ भाई ये जो video है, it's a 1 in 100 chance कि I'll be this person in few years. ठीक है. But on the flip side, does it also mean that learning a very big technology like DevOps, that can also be a 1 in 100 chance? Like, is it safe that I go with web development, mobile development?
So it's a double edged sword, right? If you get into that space where you know something which very few people know, you will make the money that very few people make, right? But if you go masses, then yeah, the playing field is bigger, but so is the competition, and so is the money, and so is the opportunity, right? So all I'm saying is, like, I gave you an example of those two kids in college, right? So now there are two ways to look at that video. One way is to say, okay, these guys have been doing since 9 10th, so I am not that guy, so oh my god, what do I do now? The other ways to say is, hey, he picked up security, this guy other picked up DevOps, and how did he learn it? What did you do I like any of these? No. Do I like a third thing? Yes. What can I learn from them? They started doing projects early. Cool. Can I do that? No, I don't, because I don't know the fundamentals. How fast can I pick up those fundamentals? So get inspired by them, because if one guy has done it, then why not me?
Coming back to DevOps as a career, so you mentioned कि you don't find a remote jobs find you. ठीक है? And you mentioned कि follow a step by step process कि get a job, get a good job, and then get a remote job, right? But if someone's in their college and they plan कि उनको remote job ही करनी है, I'm not saying it's right or wrong, to each their own, right? So they want to do a remote job. So for that, is there something to be done differently by their side?
Let's say there is a company in London, right, who's looking for a DevOps guy, right? They have a requirement, and okay, London is probably a bad example because London mein locally mil jayega. Right? But let's say there's a company in Germany, and they are looking for a DevOps expert on the cloud, right? On Azure DevOps का expert चाहिए उसको. उसने locally ढूंढ लिया, नहीं मिला, बाहर अभी ढूंढ रहा है वो, right? So your problem statement is, firstly, you don't know that that guy is looking for you, because the job is not advertised on a portal, right? So what would that person do? That person would typically first figure out where to find the person, right? He would probably go Europe, and then somebody would tell him, hey, maybe there is good talent in India, maybe check in India. He would ask, where in India? And the obvious question would be Bangalore, Delhi, Pune, top 2 3 cities, right? So the guy would log on to LinkedIn and say, DevOps engineer, Azure DevOps, Bangalore or Pune, right? Now you are not in any of these cities, you are sitting in Nasik. So right off the bat, you're not coming in the top 3 searches because of your location, which means that you have to do something. When he's searching for this, your profile bubbles up to all of these, because just by being in Bangalore, people get advantage. It's a natural thing, right? The next thing that person would do is look for skill. If he'll remove the location filter and look for people. So you have to showcase your skill properly. You have to be Googleable, right? And a very simple thing I'll give you, and I do this once every year. Open your browser in incognito mode. Put your own name, press enter. See what you find. First page, first five links. Are they your projects? Are they your articles? Or is it a complaint on GeoCinema? That will tell you how searchable you are, right? So this is again going back to the same thing of learn in public, but outside of that, you have to be a great communicator. Your English has to be phenomenal, right? You have to learn to communicate your ideas very well. And in a lot of colleges, you can join Toastmasters or any other club which is in your college. Develop your English. Very, very important, right? Develop your presentation skills. Get a bloody good internet connection. Have a good camera. It's important, right? You can't be appearing lousy. Those things matter, right? You should be able to communicate well. You should be able to express your ideas. You can't be going, "Ooh, ah." You can't be doing that because you're compete. Look at the level where you're competing. You're competing with the Europeans of the world. You're competing with the foreigners. So you have to be there. And I'm not saying, Indian language is not good या हिंदी में ही बात करनी चाहिए. अरे but recruiter को चाहिए ना. So you have to do all that. Right? So communication, presentation, basics like a good camera, a good mic, those are important. And then the ability to present yourself. And then finally, underlying everything is your searchability.
So to become searchable, like you mentioned, just post your projects, tweet about your learnings, do LinkedIn posts. That's the only way, right?
That's the only way. But in that also, don't put gyan.
Hmm.
Right? Don't say, I learned this. So what? See,
Hmm.
understand, if I am looking for a person in DevOps in Azure, I need to find out what do you know, how did you debug things, and what are your projects, and what problems did you have, and how did you solve them.
Hmm.
It's
Correct.
basically a form of your resume,
Correct. Correct. Correct.
right? I'm not interested in where you learned this from. Not my problem. What did you do after learning? How did you solve problems? What problem did you solve? What benefit did you get? So that's what I'm interested in. So put content like that. Don't say, I learned this from this video, from this book. Yeah, it's great to start off with. But then that is not what will attract you as a hirer, right?
Also, if like you are struggling to post something, maybe that's why you will not get a remote job. You have to work even harder to put out stuff, write blogs, and basically share your experiences. That's what will get you a remote job.
I'll give you a simple example, right? So, Sanskar, let's take you. How many
Hmm.
people do you know who work in the Infosys, Capgemini, Wipros of the world? Rough number.
Hmm.
Maybe 100,
Yeah.
50?
Okay. Yeah.
Let's say 100, right?
ठीक है.
Those are
ठीक है.
the Infis, Wipros, Capgeminis of the world, which we know
Hmm.
go to colleges and take 50 people, 100 people.
Yes.
The
Yes.
mass recruiters, right?
Hmm.
Let's say if those are 100, how many do you know who work in Google, Microsoft, Bain,
Yeah.
Deloitte Consulting?
Hmm.
That will be,
Very small.
maybe 10, 15 people,
10. Yeah. Yeah. Correct. Yeah.
right? So you've
Right.
straight gone from 100 to 10.
Hmm. Hmm.
How many people do you know that stay in India and do a
Hmm.
remote job and earn in dollars or pounds or
Hmm.
euros?
Hmm. Yeah.
Maybe one.
Yes. Correct.
So right there we've gone to 100 to a 1.
Hmm. 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 Yeah.
तो फिर वो बंदा 1 वो वैसा एफर्ट डालेगा तभी मिलेगा ना यार. कुछ तो किया ना उसने अलग.
So if we are talking about jobs and remote jobs and working hard, so could you also share what is a rough ballpark number, a salary one can expect starting out? let's say in a remote job and an in office job, if you have an idea?
That's a tough question because the salaries vary, right? And starting package in an engineering college in the regular run of the mill companies is anywhere between, you know, 3.5, 4 lakhs to 7, 8 lakhs. That's the average, right? Everybody knows that. But if you get in a startup, it could be upwards of 10, 15 also. If you get in a niche startup, if you are, today the web3 expert, and blockchain, and you're an expert in contracts, might be 20 lakhs, who knows, right? So the nicher you go, the higher the salary will be. Now in remote jobs, one key thing to remember is that how do you check that you're in a good remote job or not? That you are being paid the same salary in India that the people would pay somebody in UK, if the company is UK based, adjusted to payment parity little bit. But that should be a delta of 20-25%, not more than that, right? So if a person is making 100K or 150K in UK, subtract 15, 20, 25%, that's what you should be making in India, right? So that's a simple measure. They should not pay you half. They can't pay you to Indian standards, because that's the whole point. If you put that in Indian perspectives, it could be anything between 70, 80 lakhs to 1 CR and above also. People make a lot of
Hmm.
money. But
Correct.
the next statement I want to make after that is it takes years of hard work,
Hmm. Yeah.
dedication. It's not
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah.
Because why will they pay you, right? See, if somebody is paying you 1 CR, you are generating business worth minimum 5 CR for them. 5
Correct.
to 10x
Correct.
is the return of investment,
Hmm.
minimum.
Right. Right.
तो अगर उतने कैपेबल हो
Makes
तो
sense.
मिलेगा उतना.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Awesome. Thank you so much, Savinder. I think we have covered pretty much everything which someone looking to get started with DevOps and then get a job should be aware of. Like, do you
Mhm.
want to share any closing notes?
Yeah, so the only thing I want to say is that three things. Number
Yeah.
one, don't get intimidated by what you see online,
Hmm.
right? There is a lot of stuff, there is a lot of noise, especially with this AI thing going on. Don't worry about all that. Don't get intimidated. That's number one. Second, focus on your skill and your basic skill. If you are in college, if you're in your early 20s, focus on getting your fundamentals solid. Then you can learn the bells and the whistles of the world. That's fine. But your fundamentals have to be rock solid. And number three, take care of your mental health. What goes in here? Protect your brain, because this is most important. If this is sane, then you will figure out everything else. And if you're getting disturbed mentally, talk to somebody, find a solution, right? Because if this is not stable, then the foundation will be unstable. So take care of your mental health.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much, Savinder. I loved this conversation and I hope the audience gets something out of it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.